Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Hello and welcome to you wherever you are right now on the globe. My name is Martin Schenk. I'm technical assistant of the chair of the European Standardization Committee for Structural Timber Design, CEN TC 250 SC5, Professor Stefan Winter. Located at the Technical University of Munich, Germany, will I present you now the paper, Second Generation of Eurocode 5, Publication Schedule and Interface between the Design and Product Standards. The presentation on hand consists of the currently held introduction, an overview about the Eurocodes, a brief look into the organization, structure of the committee, the deliverables that the committee prepares right now, the expected timeline for all of this, the evolution of the contents of Eurocode 5, and the interface between design and product standards. Finally, we'll end up with an outlook to global standardization. Now let's start with the overview. The structural Eurocodes were established in Europe approximately 15 years ago. They replaced the differing or even missing design guidelines in the member states of the European Committee for Standardization, short CEN, with a common set of technical design rules of equal safety level. They integrate the essential requirements for construction works defined by the Construction Products Regulation via design rules into the harmonized European building market from the raw product to the full building scale. As for many of you well know, the structural Eurocodes consist of 10 individual parts. Using the example of Great Britain, you can see on the right-hand side of the screen that these standards have so far not only been adopted in the European Union, but form the basis for the design of structures in over 33 countries. This means the documents have an influence to the daily work of approximately 500,000 engineers in more than 3 million enterprises active in the European construction sector. This economic sector accounts for 9% of the European gross domestic product. We see the Eurocodes have a major influence to the life of people, and applicability over time has to be ensured. Therefore, the European Commission issued the specific mandate M515 to CEN in 2012 towards the second generation of structural Eurocodes. This new generation will focus further on the user's needs. Now let's see how this work is organized. Standardization work under the supervision of the European Committee for Standardization, short CEN, is conducted by technical committees, TCs. Shown here are the TCs of relevance for the timber sector. TC 250 is the committee responsible for the structural Eurocodes. Based on the 10 codes, TC 250 is subdivided into 10 subcommittees. The timber sector standard Eurocode 5, the timber design standard Eurocode 5 is developed in subcommittee 5 under the lead of the chair, Professor Winter, and the SC5 secretary, Annika Stenmark, from SIS, the Swedish Standardization Organization. SC5 itself is organized in 10 working groups, where experts in their fields from all over Europe prepare design provisions for assigned subjects, like, for instance, Working Group 7, as you can see here. Working Group 7 is in charge with reinforcement of timber structures. For an in-depth view into the organization structures, responsibilities, and procedures in SC5, I strongly recommend the paper of Miriam Kleinhans, Philip Dietsch, and Stefan Winter, which was presented at Wcte 2016. Me, in turn, now would like to present the drafting process to you in a very simplified way. Related to the main topics identified during the systematic revision of the current generation of the Eurocodes, the European Commission launched a tender process and entered into contracts with groups of selected experts in their relevant fields. Those groups are called project teams. At the end of the PT's contracts, they have to submit technical drafts to CEN. CEN working groups develop further the PT's drafts and finalize the work. Afterwards, the subcommittees prepare the deliverables according to the official CEN drafting rules. After approval and legitimation by the 10 member states and the European Commission, the document will be available for the national standards bodies. Let's come to the question, what documents can be expected as second generation of Eurocode 5? As we know, Eurocode 5 currently consists of the parts 1995-1-1, general rules and rules for buildings, 1995-1-2, rules for structural fire design, and 1995-2, bridges. Additionally, SC5 developed a 10 technical specification on timber concrete composite structures and is currently preparing a 10 technical report on bonded-in rods. The first document will provide design methods of the relatively young but quite important material composition to a broad engineering public. The second document offers a comprehensive informative overview on the design and execution of this specific type of connection, the bonded-in rods. Provisions for execution are not a part of the 10 TC 250 scope. However, where safety relevant, rules for execution must be given for practice. A decision on the final legal level of the document under the development by SC5 has not yet been taken, and that's why we see a lot of placeholders here. I'd like to move over to the timeline now. With the adoption of a program for the elimination of trade barriers in the construction sector in 1975, the European Commission laid the foundation for the first generation of Eurocodes. After more than 30 years, its development was completed with the publication of the last document in 2007. The process for the second generation started in 2010. The question is now, when will it be available? With a response to the specific mandate in 2013, TC 250 prepared a comprehensive work program that was divided into 4 work phases related to the main topics identified during the systematic revision of the current generation. 6 project teams were established to prepare the second generation of Eurocode 5. As you can see on screen now, phase 1 on cross-laminated timber and timber composites, as well as phase 2, have finished now. And even though the contracts with the phase 3 PTs are still valid, the technical content of this phase has already been finalized. Only PT6, in charge with timber bridges, is still working. They will finalize a draft for EN 1995-2 end of this year. After the PT is ending, the drafts are developed further as presented before. The whole process for subcommittee 5 documents will be finished the following. EN 1995-1-1 and EN 1995-1-2 will be available in September 2025. EN 1995-2 in February 2026. The 10 TS on timber composites is right now under finalization and will be available already in September of this year. The technical report on bonded-in rods and the execution draft are on mandated work, and timeline has not yet determined. That's why they aren't shown here on screen. Now, please let me give you here an additional explanation. As the member states can decide individually on the date of publication of a standard, the date of availability is not the same as the date of publication. And it is also not the same date as the date of withdrawal of the old generation of the standard. Shown on screen with these streamlines here is the date of availability. The latest date of publication in the member states for all Eurocode parts, not only Eurocode 5, is determined as the 30th September 2027. The date of withdrawal of all first generation structural Eurocodes in all member states is synchronized and will be the 30th March 2028. Now let's see what we can expect from the second generation that will be available from 2025 on. In general, and in comparison to the first generation, the numbering of the documents has slightly changed. Clause 2 normative references and Clause 3 terms and definitions and symbols are newly implemented. Not yet in the conference paper, but a fire new chapter is Clause 10 on fatigue. To further improve the clarity of the document, the key clauses, basis of design, structural analysis, ultimate limit states, joints and connections were restructured. Design rules for compression perpendicular to the grain, stability and bracing and racking resistance have been revised. Additionally, the design rules for laminated veneer lumber, flow vibrations, and connections have been extended. As new content, the materials cross-laminated timber and multi-layered solid wood panels, as well as glue-laminated veneer lumber, will be implemented in Clause 5. Design provisions for holes and beams will be added to Clause 8, so Clause 5 and Clause 8. Moreover, in the same chapter, reinforcement of timber structures in general is regulated for the first time. Brittle failure, formerly allocated in the informative Annex A, is implemented into Clause 11. Foundations with timber piles, Clause 15, is currently discussed to be added to the new main document. When we move over to EN 1995-1-2, perhaps one of the most important changes is the deletion of the reduced property method and the resulting extension of the design rules for the effective cross-section methods. Working Group 4 works on the applicability of timber I-joists, cross-laminated timber, timber concrete composite elements, and others. The design models for the verification of the separating function of floor and wall assemblies and for the verification of the failure time, falling off time of the fire protection system will be revised profoundly and are aimed to be extended, that's important, to 90 minutes fire resistance. Design rules for charring, timber frame assemblies, connections and fire, detailing and timber structures exposed to physically based design fires, so naturally fire curves, are updated to the current state of the art. Since Project Team 6 is still working, much cannot be said about EN 1995-2. Only that the design rules for durability and detailing, sealing, backplates, and integral bridges are aimed to be extended. And of course, the design rules, according to the developments in the other documents, for timber concrete composites, laminated veneer lumber, vibrations, and fatigue will be revised. Now let's zoom out to the big picture of the European construction sector again. Let's look to the interface between design and product standards. The standardization of the European construction sector is mainly built on 3 columns. The design standards, which describe the safety and reliability of structures when applying standardized design and execution. Standardized design is also part of the design standards. Execution is part of the execution standards. Execution standards describe the methods that must be used to ensure that what is designed is built. And finally, the product standards that describe the procedures leading to an accurate and reliable declaration of performance. But the important question remains how to ensure the usability of a product for Eurocode design with respect to the essential requirements defined in the European Construction Products Regulation: mechanical resistance and stability, safety in case of fire, safety in use, and sustainability. The second generation of Eurocode 5 will now provide a list of properties, the so-called Annex M of the documents. This Annex M serves for the first time as information basis for product regulators and manufacturers. It will declare parameters of construction products and materials that structural designers expect in order to apply a product according to the Eurocodes. After further coordination and implementation into the product standards, it should be assumed that those properties are part of the declaration of performance of relevant construction products. With this completely harmonized standardization system, designers and contractors and other construction stakeholders, of course, too, have a common language available to exchange information efficiently. Now, after the sprint through European standardization, let us conclude. A successful work on Eurocode 5 also on the future of the European Construction Products Regulation will enable and an increased use of timber as building material not only in Europe, but all over the world. Even though a major part of the work towards the second generation of Eurocode 5 is already done, close international collaboration and cooperation is ever more crucial to ensure the success of this long-term journey. And even though we are not able to meet today in person due to the pandemic, we look forward to work together with you tomorrow. Thank you for your attention. And thanks as well to the organization team of Wcte 2020-2021. We are looking forward to your questions.